do you have any final advice for film students?
I mean, it's a hard process. Don't worry about failing. Through that failure is ultimately what leads you to your own Blair Witch.
Hey, welcome back to the rise of the indie film giants. So far, we've covered 4 different films that have had major impact on independent filmmaking. The final 2 films we're talking about have established a subgenre, defied box office, and paved a lane for low-budget filmmakers everywhere.
I'm really excited about this. Thank you for the opportunity.
I'm very glad.
There were no logos, no fanfare, just acclaim that felt real. The Blair Witch Project. Before audiences ever sat down, they were already inside the story. The found footage formula was more propaganda, less polish. It was marketing, it was hype, it was old school word of mouth, and way too much shaky cam. No stars, no studio safety net, and no marketing budget worth mentioning. So they did what Gaudomatic would do. They took their limitations and turned them into weapons. No polish, no gloss, just something that felt true. They didn't sell a movie, they built a myth. A website, simple, crude, presented everything as fact. Documents, interviews, history. No wink to the audience. Nothing about it said, hey, this is fiction. The thing is, you weren't being advertised to, you were investigating. And that's the shift. The actors disappeared. Not metaphorically, on paper, online, everywhere. They were gone. No interviews, no press tours, no breaking character, because once you break it, you lose it. They were asked to stay out of sight until the film dropped. Is this real? Is this real? That question did more work than any ad campaign ever could. Now keep in mind, this was 1999. This was the early internet. This was dial-up. There's no algorithms, there's no fact-checking culture, just people sharing what they felt. This became water cooler talk. They didn't push the story, they let the audience pull it into their own world. That's Gaudomatic energy. You don't chase the attention, you create something people can't ignore. And that's what they were doing. This was one of the most brilliant marketing campaigns ever. How far would they take this lie? All the way. They even backed it up with a fake documentary, presenting more evidence, more context, no cracks. There were no cracks in the illusion. Every piece said the same thing. This really happened. This is happening. This happened. Now, by release day, the marketing was over because the audience had already done the work. They showed up, not for entertainment, but for confirmation. On an initial budget of only $35,000, the box office was $248 million. The numbers are in. That's not luck. That's execution. A low-budget film that outperformed the system by refusing to play inside of that system. Now, the final budget would be around $60,000, but with a box office of $248 million, no matter how you cut it, no matter how you slice it, that's a lot of money. That's impressive.
Impressive.
Now, here's the truth. They didn't just market a film. They created belief. And belief is scalable. That's the blueprint. Not bigger budgets, not louder ads, just realer ideas. More real ideas that are realer. Just keep it real.
It does have a lot of mystique to it, and people want to see what it's all about, and seeing it on the big screen's a lot of fun. The marketing campaign has its own sort of like level of mystique, and a lot of it was helped out by John Pierce. Blair, which sort of represents this point in our history where, internet was coming into its own, reality TV was sort of coming into its own. We all like certain aspects of that whole kind of mythology. And
there has to be a commitment to the illusion. There has to be respect for the audience and the discipline to never break the world you build. So the real lesson here is, if it feels real, it is. No movement, no music, no escape, just time, and the feeling that something is wrong. Now, where the Blair Witch Project used chaos, Paranormal Activity, they used control. Locked cameras, fixed perspectives, long takes. It didn't chase fear, it waited for you to find it. Made for around $15,000, the film didn't look professional. That was the point. It looked like something you could film yourself, which meant it could happen to you. Now, the marketing didn't focus on the film, it focused on the audience. Instead of showing the horror, they showed people experiencing it. And that is, the shift. It's the shift again. You're not watching a trailer, you're watching proof. You're looking at evidence right here. Now, this wasn't a wide release, it was a test. Audiences had to demand the film come to their city. Every vote became marketing. Every request became proof of hype. They turned distribution into participation. Let me repeat that. They turned distribution into participation. Much like the Blair Witch Project, the real engine wasn't ads, it was people. Every time someone told a friend, I couldn't sleep after that. Or they said, that felt real. That's all it took. On a budget of $15,000, box office of $193 million, a micro-budget film becoming a global phenomenon, not by being bigger, but by being closer. Okay, so here's the difference. The Blair Witch Project made you believe the footage was real. Paranormal Activity made you feel like it was happening right now. That's evolution. Same foundation, different execution. For Gaudomatic, the lesson is simple. Don't just show something real. Create an experience the audience can project themselves into, because the closer it feels, the harder it hits. And the truth is this: the scariest thing is when it feels possible. It's not easy to affect an industry overnight, but some of these films have done exactly that. What connects these films? They took risks. They broke rules. They embraced limitations and turned them into strengths. But perhaps most importantly, they changed who gets to tell stories. From underdog athletes to hitmen and philosophers, to clerks behind the counter, to filmmakers in the woods. Independent cinema proves something extraordinary. The great stories don't belong to studios. They belong to anyone brave enough to tell them. And somewhere right now, someone with nothing but an idea might be creating the next story that introduces the new era of independent film. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed looking at a few independent films that made a big difference in the independent film movement. See you next time. Lights,